So in that sense, I think like a vision, like static vision of a city. I mean, of course, we can produce an illustration. I mean, that also happened in the past, right? So the visions of full cities designed by planners, 19th century, 20th century, they were not fully realized, right? I mean, the layout may remain, but that is not like the city as a whole that gets built, right? So I guess there is something where still, humans definitely will have something to say or to do over the deployment of whatever vision we have, right?
But listening to you, I have a question. Let's say, why do we need these visions at all?
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying.
Maybe we
don't
skip
have
them quite easily, so that there are no mistakes anymore.
Yeah. Like the very kind of grand vision of a city. We don't do this anymore.
Complete process, and so therefore we just have to see what happens and then to wait for 10 years, and then we can see what has happened.
Because the visions are a reflection of the changes in society. So the visions of the 1960s for Helsinki and London are completely turned on its head if you compare it with today. So 1968 in Helsinki, they had a 6-lane highway going through where the harbours are now and through the old historic town, right through the middle of the historic town. Covent Garden had a 10-lane highway from
Thank God it's not realised.
Oxford Street all the way down through Charing Cross, Trafalgar Square, turns left along the Strand, and then across Waterloo Bridge. 10-lane highway right through Covent Garden, obliterated. And luckily some of us fought against it and we changed the vision.
Okay.
Now AI will not do that for you because there are competing political understanding of what kind of society we want to achieve, and that is reflected back on the type of city that we have.
Yeah, but you see, there are these, how to say it, or how I understand this. We had once this modernistic view to life, let's say.
Like Lasnama and the tram line.
But this continued for decades.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day it really turned or changed somehow. So therefore it's I don't know what happens now. So therefore now we are looking for a kind of a mixed kind of a cities, let's say, or there are mixtures of here and there, and so of course the work is changing. It's not anymore just this hard work, let's say. It's we work with information, and so therefore there are changes in the society, let's say. Even the family is changing. It's not anymore most people are living alone, so therefore
2 kids, 2 people.
2 kids, no.
Nuclear family.
1 probably.
2 kids. And a man and wife, and that's changed, right?
So it's maybe we are promoting kind of a wrong vision for the future society. So therefore,
how do you decide what's right or wrong, and how does AI decide what is right and wrong?
I have to be very, very arrogant to say that what I think is right.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes before I get sleep, let's say, then I start hesitating, maybe not. Maybe I just bloody made a mistake.
Okay.
I don't know really. I don't know. So it's of course it's a continuous process in the sense that it's changing, and all these changes in the world, let's say, are going to steer my mind somehow. So therefore, it's
Well, for me, spatial planning is about going forward, where cities have to take account of how to make a city that's carbon neutral, to reduce the CO2 and at the same time make society more egalitarian, so that there's greater equality between those that have and those that don't have. Are we still recording?
Yes.
Right. On that basis.
Are you afraid of that, or you just
No,
want it to be
I
recorded?
wanted to make sure that this is recorded, because on that basis, I represent a minority.
I don't think so, but okay.
You mean a minority within the planning sector? Or?
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's the political mechanism which dictates what kind of city we have, and not architects or urban planners.
Yep.
And the best example is where I lived for nearly 20 years, London, which until 1979 had just about 50% of everybody lived in social rented housing, affordable housing. And the Conservative Party considered that people lived too cheaply, and stopped council housing in 1979 when Margaret Thatcher came to power, and that created a revolution in house pricing and rental housing right throughout the world, because she was then supported by Ronald Reagan in the States. So nowadays you can't buy anything in Vancouver under $1 million. In London it's probably about 550,000. Now calculate what kind of salary one would require, yearly salary, to be able to afford 550,000. We're talking about less than 12% of the population. And rents are now so high, the cost of child rearing is so high that we were discussing this with my son and his wife yesterday, that because they live in South England, that if you have 2 children, it's cheaper for the woman or the man, one or the other, to make a decision to stay at home, because the cost of kindergarten is now too great. So that's just an eclipse of, in a very micro manner, what's been happening over the past 40 years in the world, and that's changed spatial planning.
If I go to Sweden, which is the case I know, or I've been studying, we could say that perhaps the problem will not come with AI, but actually already came, in the 80s with neoliberalization, not only of the economy but of the profession. So the role that architects and planners had in Sweden, which it was actually, in many respects like almost a model of social democratic urbanism, egalitarian urbanism, and so on. And that succeeded very much, in terms of, for instance, provision of affordable housing and so on and so forth, services, stuff, where architects and planners were hardly involved, definitely involved in the making of a new society and a new environment, through space. Since the 80s and until now, they don't play a role. Planning is not in the hands of planners, less in the hands of architects, in Sweden at least. Regulatory different levels of planning are not binding, are just, kind of a guideline or a set of aims perhaps that we would like as institution, as municipality. But then, the planning is not binding to the level of the detailed plan, which is a very small, block scale. And this is initiated by real estate developers. Like the entire market is controlled by real estate developers, essentially. which negotiate directly with the municipality, saying, okay, we would like to develop that. Can you sell it? Can you sell that whatever land, and in return we offer you whatever housing units. But then the planner, is not deciding where to grow, how to grow, and then all happens through negotiation between real estate market and municipal institution. And therefore the architect or the planner has become almost like a consultant, like an interior design, is an interior consultant. The architect is kind of an aesthetic consultant almost, that has no responsibility nor ability to actually, shape an environment.